Aloha Kako to the 2020 Hawaii Book and Music Festival in partnership with the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Today we have an exciting session. It's the second Innovation Future session, and I'm so pleased that I'm going to get to spend time with some friends from Elemental Accelerator and Blue Startups. And I'm really excited to just jump in and get this conversation going, because these two wonderful mana wahine are going to be able to share with us some of the amazing work that their accelerators are doing in the innovation space here in Hawaii, which is especially critical during this time when there's so much uncertainty. And the only way to really create, to know the future is to create it. And you two are doing exactly that with your accelerator programs. Now, aloha, I'm Stacy Ferreira, and I am the budget chief over at the State of Hawaii Senate Ways and Means. And it's my extreme pleasure to welcome Tiffany and Chenoa. And if, ladies, I could have you introduce yourselves and share a little bit about your organizations and the good work that you're doing. And we'll start off with Tiffany.
Thank you so much, Stacy. I'm so delighted to be here with both you and Chenoa today. I'm Tiffany Huynh, Director of External Affairs at Elemental Accelerator. And I thought a visual would be the best way to show you the type of work that we do. So again, I'm from Elemental Accelerator, and we work in the climate space here in Hawaii. So if we look at Hawaii, what I have listed here are just a number of the goals that we have as a state. And these are really great goals. And, you know, they're much farther along than a lot of other states or even like a lot of other nations. But if you look at the dates that we have here, you know, renewable energy, 84% renewable energy by 2030, saving energy by 2030, 100% clean ground transportation by 2045. So although these goals are really great, we're trying to work to accelerate the time that it'll take for us to get to that cleaner energy future. So here at Elemental, our goal is to really uplift people and planet. And we exist for basically two reasons: to help startups succeed and to transform communities. So here, we truly believe that entrepreneurs are wired to scale solutions with the speed and urgency that it requires to really make an impact on climate change. So every year, we invest in 15 to 20 companies and fund them up to $1 million to help improve systems that we use every single day. So that's, you know, energy, mobility, water, circular economy, and agriculture. And when looking at us as an accelerator, so we tend to support companies that are a bit more later stage. So that means that they usually have a prototype, they have some paying customers, and usually their teams they have a support team, so more than just the founders themselves. And the way we do this is we take a really holistic approach to tackling this issue of climate change. So you'll see here, these beautiful people on the screen are who we call our directors of innovation. And we have a director of innovation in each of the sectors that we work in. So that's food and agriculture, circular economy, water, mobility, and energy. And we also have taken a real equity and access lens to the work that we do as well. And we work with companies in 3 different ways. So we have something called our triple track program. And what that is companies can either come into our cohort or our program through one of 3 ways. And that's our demonstration track, which are deploying projects in Hawaii, our equity and access track, which is deploying projects in what we call frontline or vulnerable communities in California. So those are communities that are usually low income by nature, but they will also be some of the first communities to really experience the direct impacts of climate change. And the last track that we have here is our go-to-market track, which is where we really focus on helping to coach companies as opposed to doing projects like the other 2.
Elemental does exciting and fantastic work as well. Thank you for sharing that overview. It's really important that we spend some time kind of giving that blanket overview, because I know there's going to be a lot of participants joining us today that, this is the first time that they're learning about Elemental and Blue Startups. So thank you for kind of taking us a step back and just giving us that overview. It's really helpful. Chenoa, can you introduce yourself and share about Blue Startups?
Hi, aloha everyone. Nice to be here today. So my name is Chenoa Farnsworth. I'm the managing partner at Blue Startups. So we are a venture accelerator. We invest in startups, mostly in the technology space. We have been ranked in the top 20 in the US, even though we're all the way out here in the middle of the Pacific. So proud of that. Our companies have gone on to raise now $130 million in venture capital. These are very early companies when they start with us. We've invested in 90 companies so far, and we have over 150 international mentors in our group that help and volunteer their time to work with our companies. So we're really fortunate to have that. This year, we wanted to do something a little different from just our general technology track, which is what we've been doing for a long time, and zeroed in on some sustainability goals from the UN that we wanted to try to tackle. So these are the ones that we said we are going to try to recruit around, and I think we've accomplished that. In our new cohort of cohort 12, we have 8 companies, 4 of them based here in Hawaii, working on our economic growth goal, 3 of them led by women, working on our gender equality goal, 2 of them in the sustainability space, working on that goal, and climate action as well, and several overseas working on some reduced inequalities goals. So we're excited to look at these specific tracks now that Blue Startups is focused in on. We do think Hawaii can win in these specific sectors, which is why we're focusing in on some specific areas where technology can play a part, but more importantly, where Hawaii has some competitive advantage. So in the travel space, up until the COVID hit, and I still think going forward, Hawaii can be innovators in the global tourism industry. Software, we love the software space because we can export that from Hawaii with the push of a button. So having IP-based businesses here makes sense for us. It's a low impact on the environment and a high impact on our economy. And then sustainability, similar to Elemental, we do want to work with companies that are solving our global climate crisis problem and other things around sustainability. So our founder focus, we focus first on Hawaii founders. It's always our number 1 priority, although we do take in companies from outside the state. At least half of every cohort is Hawaii based. We do have an increasing focus on female founded. That's something that my partners and I are very dedicated to. Obviously, if you can't tell, I am female, and my partner, Maya Rogers, is as well. So, we really want to see more women represented in the technology industry. And then we also have a focus on recruiting from the whole PAC Rim. So, for example, in our latest cohort, we have companies from Hong Kong and New Zealand. We really want to position Hawaii as a place where we have our East meets West for business, not just for tourism. So one of the things we're working on. We have a lot of partners. We could not do this alone. We are a partner with the Tetris company, which is located here in Hawaii, which is amazing. And of course, the state of Hawaii, HTDC, and Ulupono, and many others have provided us with help and support over the years. So what do we work on? We work on, again, hopefully, companies that are rooted here in Hawaii but have global ambition. That's kind of the overarching theme of what we do. We run a 12-week intensive mentorship program, and primarily you're interacting with this group of 150 global mentors. That's something that's actually gotten easier in the COVID era, right? We can interact with all these mentors around the world without any barriers to entry, so that's exciting. Every company as well gets one mentor that leads them through the whole process, so a hands-on advisor, if you will. So that's another big benefit of being in the program. We also work with getting customers for our companies. That is the most important thing that a baby company can do. Before they can get investors, they have to get customers. So we're working on our relationships here with our top companies in Hawaii. We've also formed a partnership with the military here to try to get our products into their procurement systems. And we're also a member of the Global Accelerator Network, which provides our companies with access to a bunch of different corporations and perks. So they get things for free or reduced cost through that relationship. We do focus on bringing in our world-class expertise, again, in certain areas, software and travel. We try to gather up the best of the best in those areas to provide guidance to our companies. We have been doing that, again, for many years. Some of these partners have been with us since the beginning and are really the keys to making our program work well. And then, of course, we do try to connect our companies to investors. Most of our companies, when they come in, they are, as I call them, baby companies. So very, very early stage, maybe 2 people working there, and no outside investment yet. But ideally, by the time they're done with the program, they are ready to take in some investor money. So part of our job is introducing them to those investors. Typically, we would do that here in Hawaii and in San Francisco. This year, we're doing it all virtually, of course.
Chenoa, you had mentioned in your overview of Blue Startups that Hawaii has a competitive advantage. Can you take us a little bit deeper into when we think about climate change and the cohort companies that are coming in for both organizations? What are the competitive advantages are you seeing that are being elevated or amplified through some of these new product ideas or prototypes?
Yeah, I mean, I think the competitive advantage we have specifically in climate change and renewable energy is actually one of the things that makes it difficult to be here, which is our cost of energy and our cost of doing business here. So that has a benefit in that it drives a lot of innovation in that sector, right? And I'm sure Tiffany can speak to this better, but essentially projects pencil out here that wouldn't pencil out in places where electricity is cheaper. So it becomes a great test bed for figuring out how we're going to move forward in creating, a sustainable climate and a sustainable planet in many ways, right? We're an island economy, so that is true for our agriculture needs, our other product needs, renewable energy needs. All of these things we need to figure out how to solve, and being a great kind of petri dish for solutions that then can be exported to the world, I think is a great competitive advantage for Hawaii.
Yeah, absolutely. I always say that, we're the perfect place to, test and deploy technologies just precisely because of our size. And when we look at, deploying projects, every time you deploy a project, it's within a community, no matter where you're deploying it, right? And I think the sense of community here is really strong. So for us to be able to, really cultivate those relationships where, we're listening to the community, listening to what their pain points are, because we're so close to it, and we can figure out what the needs are so that we find the solutions that fit the needs of where we live. And also, what we constantly say here at Elemental is, we deploy locally and scale globally. So I think it's great to be able to put Hawaii on the map in that way, where so many projects are being tested here and proven out here before moving on to that global stage.
So what do we need to do to grow the innovation space here in Hawaii?
Such a complicated problem, right? And we get asked this a lot. So I'll pick one lane. Of course, there's a myriad of things we could and should be doing, but just to try to be succinct, I'll say that, what I'm currently thinking about and what we're thinking about a lot at Blue is the talent issue. And again, I think that the pandemic has created an opportunity for Hawaii to attract talent. So we need to continue to home grow our talent here, right? So to give them the skills so that they can participate in, the broader global economy, in knowledge work that pays very well, so to allow us to stay here, living here. So training up, our local residents. I don't know if you just saw the recent announcement with the partnership with Coursera and the state of Hawaii, which I think is fantastic. That's the type of thing that I think can really make a big difference for Hawaii's people. So if you're a resident of the state of Hawaii now, you can take courses at Coursera for free. More things like that to train up our people. I think it's important. Like I said, right now we have this golden opportunity to attract talent to live here. There's a perception that, Hawaii is a great place to live, which we all know it is and can be even better. But if you can come home right now, if you're kama'aina, and you can come home right now and keep your mainland salary for the time being, that's kind of the best of all worlds. And then, my hope is that then once we get everybody here, we kind of have that renewed petri dish, if you will. And it's been interesting with the pandemic because, like I said, I'm getting inquiries almost daily about people that have come back home or have moved here and want to contribute back to Hawaii and want to solve problems here and want to be a part of the solution. So I think if we can harness that energy and that, that these kind of the knowledge power there and towards solving some of Hawaii's most critical issues, like how do we create a sustainable tourism industry here, for example? We have all of this, kind of brain trust now that is coming back or coming here or being trained up here. And I think it's really about harnessing that human capital, right? If we can harness that and create new opportunities with that then other capital will show up to the party.
Yeah, I like to talk about reversing the brain drain and turning it into brain gain. And just to, exactly Chenoa's point, I think there's a huge opportunity here. I think in the near term, just even in the next 3 months, there's so many great programs that have been created, to help create more long-term sustainable jobs, especially as we're looking to transition to a cleaner, renewable energy future. I think, if you even just think of one segment of opportunity like solar, with all of the microgrids and things that are going to come online through the RFPs that are already out there, there's opportunity for thousands of jobs. And these are long-term jobs that are high paying, that will be here forever, basically. And I think the programs that we're seeing come up like Kupaina Core or like Aloha Connects Innovation or Oahu Back to Work, those are all really key programs that are utilizing CARES funding right now, I believe, to, help retrain and reskill our workforce. So I think we're in like this space right now where it's just so key. We actually have funding for it. So I think the best thing that we could do is actually utilize the funding to start creating that future that we've all been talking about even since before this pandemic.
Well, thank you, ladies, for spending time with us today and sharing your mana'o and just all the good work that your accelerators are doing. This state needs our business accelerators. We need folks with, like you said, the brightest minds thinking about how to solve Hawaii's problems, but literally the problems of the world. So thank you for all that you do, your leadership and your passion, and thank you for joining us today.